Good morning, everybody. We are live, and I am with Sylvia Becker-hill. I am so lucky to interview her. Sylvia is an executive coach, women's empowerment mentor, and artist. So she will share with us a lot of things from different perspectives. And we will talk with her about how to become your own person and what does it mean in your life for you and for others. So this is a plan for today. This interview is part of the book launch, Aspire, Women Finding Their Purpose. And the launch day is this Friday in 2 days. We are 2 days before the launch day. This is so exciting. I mean, I was not expecting to be that excited by it, but all those interviews just help me even more and more and more in this book and to share with the world how passion on how to find your purpose and how to live a life of joy. So, okay, we may have an issue. No, we should be good as well in the group. If you're watching us from the group, please, from the group Successful Women in Business, please just let us know. So I know that everything is okay. We have Facebook has some tech issues, but we should be good to go for today. So book launch is April 30th. This is the day that you need to buy the book for multiple reasons. The first one is that it will give you 20 different perspectives and 20 different stories on how to find your purpose. And there is a good chance that the one that resonates with you and your life is in it. The second good reason is it's only 99 cents and you will help us become best-selling author, which is very exciting, even though I still don't really realize what does it mean. And the third good reason is that for $1, you can also help a charity who is helping women along the world to get a better life and to step up. So everything is good for only 99 cents, less than a coffee. You're good with all of that. So we have a comment. We are live. Okay, great. Fantastic. So Facebook has solved their tech issues, so this is good. On the launch day, on Friday, I will do a specific training for this launch day. It's called Fast Track to Your Life of Purpose. And I will add joy because through the interviews, I realized that finding your purpose by itself is not the end. It's just the beginning of a new journey full of joy and happiness. And I truly believe in that. So this is what I will share with you. It's free, but you need to register because it will not be broadcasted without registration. So that's it for the housekeeping. A few words about me. I am Benedict Ertzen, and I am business and life consultant. I have 35 years plus of leadership behind me, and more or less every time in my career, I was the first woman to do something. So I had to learn the hard way when at a time when there was no role model for me on how to lead as a woman and have it all. I wanted a business, a family, and a personal life. And I was not ready to sacrifice any of them for the other. So it was challenging sometimes, but I manage it and I'm so happy with the life I have today. I retired at 50-year-old with enough money to secure the rest of my life. And since then, I am just passionate in helping women step up and having the lives that they want. I help them to lead, learn, and love in authenticity so they can live the life that they want. If it is you, just drop a comment and come to me. I'm more than happy to help you get what you want. So this is it for me. And now, Sylvia, this is your turn. So tell us more about yourself for the people who don't know you.
I love how many similarities are there in our biography. You are from France, from Europe. I'm originally from Germany. And in my lifetime, I'm born in 1967. When I started to be an executive coach and leadership trainer and consultant in the mid-late 90s, I was in most spaces and rooms I entered also the very first woman. And oh my gosh, breaking the glass ceiling It hurt sometimes. I had some bumps and some bruises, and oh my gosh, somehow your story triggered a lot of memories when I look now back, where I'm embarrassed about the things I believed I had to do to be successful, which was more or less turning myself into a man with boobs, wearing my stripy business suit and my business suitcase, and looking more serious, and putting my hair up in a bun, and wearing glasses, and doing all these things to shape myself, to merge myself into the mold I believed society expected me to fit myself in order to be successful. Now at 54, I'm finally my own person for a few years now, and I can't tell you, it's so liberating. It's so juicy, joyful. I mean, to sense in yourself
Yeah.
that you are whole and that you are complete, and neither too much, not good enough, but you are. You just even the whole word or concept, the question, am I enough or too much? It's gone. I am. That's it. I am. Period. So it's so joyful, exhilarating, juicy, yummy, amazing, and obviously I want that every woman and also every man learns how to step out of the patriarchy, of all the pressure cooking
Yeah.
expectations, of breaking all the molds society has created for men and women to squeeze us in so that we function better. It's amazing when you break the mold and you live your most juiciest, wonderful life.
Yeah, I love your enthusiasm. And I can see that in the corporate world, it was difficult to fit in because usually this passion that we can have as a woman, but not only, I mean, as human being, those passions that we can have, it's not so well perceived in corporate worlds where more or less we expect people to be agile and to think outside of the box, and we train them for that. But when it comes to promotion or go on the company later, we only promote people who are exactly the same. So we both ask. And so if you're in corporate today and you feel a bit squeezed sometimes, don't worry, this is just normal. At some point you will need to decide whether this is the right word for you or not. But there is, I do not know any company so far in 2021 who has been able to do both, helping their leaders to be themselves very authentic, very agile, really truly align with who they are so they can bring the best of their gift to the world. And at the same time, having a promotion and HR system that is not just going to promote clones that are just all the same. And so that's the reason why it's at the top of the companies, you usually have same layers of the same guy.
I
And then
forgot.
guy because they are usually guys, but when they are women, a lot of them are just behaving with their masculine energy, and we don't see so much of the feminine energy on the top. So
I,
I love your passion for that.
I forgot who said it first. If it was a Gallup or a Harvard Business Review, I forgot. So either one of the two or a similar established patriarchal leadership expert institute said a few years ago that this century we are now in, after we passed the year 2000, that the number one leadership skill, the number one, everyone, please listen, the number one leadership skill, according to the old established experts, is, guess what? Creativity.
Yeah.
Creativity, thinking outside the box, the exact thing for which Benedict, you and I, when we were younger, we got punished for. I mean, it was this paradox. They wanted us to be agile and flexible and think outside the box. I did this all the time. My brain is so effervescent with creative ideas. They didn't like that. They didn't like when I played the devil's advocate. When I, in my early 30s, just starting out, I mean, all my colleagues and clients, they were all men at the start. They were all 20 or more years older than me. And who did I dare to be? The young girl, not married at the time, long blonde hair, telling them what to do better. Oh my gosh. the
Oh,
whole
yes.
ego power games. So creativity was not very well perceived at the time. To a certain degree, it was like there was a
Yeah.
big box, and inside the box was a small margin for creativity in which you were allowed to expand a tiny bit. But if you were questioning the box, they put you into a smaller one.
Yeah. When you talk about the box, it gives me the image that you cannot change the box. You can only change the wrapping gift, which actually at the end of the day doesn't really change anything, because as soon as the wrapping gift is gone, then you still have the same box. And even though Harvard Review and Gallup says that they want creativity, as a former human resources director and awarded best HR director in China in 2008, the first Westerners to be ever granted of this award, I can tell you that the HR systems in corporate are not yet ready to embrace those creativity and to review their process of promotion, of who is a high performer, how do we develop them, and so forth, so they can really become themselves and not the clone of somebody else.
Yeah.
And so we have leadership models in any modern company. You have leadership models in which it is written agile, creativity, and everything, because this is trendy. But in reality, when it comes to promote people and choose for the new leader, even if it is a new project, even if it is something new in the company, we usually choose the same, because this is comfortable, this is safe. Even safe, I will say safe, because it's relationship safe, but for the company it's not safe, because it just keeps the company at the same level. So this is this is really the challenge for corporate America, not only America, I mean corporate in the world. And I do believe, just like you, Sylvia, that women can, with their feminine energy, can bring something new on the table if we let them. But we don't only have to let them, we have to teach women and to give them the tools to empower themselves, so they can step up and share that with the world. Because I don't know for you, Sylvia, but I shall admit that sometimes I just shut up myself, because it was too challenging to go against all of that. And I should not have, when I see that years later.
I
Um,
hear.
but so that's the reason why today I'm so passionate in helping women to stepping up and showing what they have, even if it is what they have and what they want to share is different from what people expect, because this is what we have to bring on the table. And quotas will not help us. We don't need women, we need feminine energy. And we, as women, we have it, but men has it as well. So we need feminine energy. And let's say that for women, it's easier to bring feminine energies than it is for men. So this is our role to do it, our duty somewhere.
Before we talk about the tools you mentioned, which is a
Yeah.
beautiful bridge into Aspire, the book we both are co-authors in, I want to give all our beloved viewers two good news to what we were discussing before when you mentioned HR and the challenges
Yeah.
and the big global needed change. So two good news. News number one, neuroscience. This here's a lovely brain model. It has the authentic weight of a real human brain and shape, and nearly, no, the color is a bit nicer than what you would see if you cut open your skull. So the good news from a neuroscience perspective is, since around 20, 25 years, neuroscience becomes more and more mainstream. So more and more executives and managers and HR professionals are informed about the newest discoveries of the last 2 decades about neuroscience. And without going into that, the good news in that is, through neuroscience, we all now have access to the information to understand better what men and women need in order to change. And the key thing, just a little slither for here in this live interview, is to understand how, as a leader, we can help ourselves to feel safe and how we can help others to feel safe. And there are slight gender differences between men and women, but thanks to neuroscience, we as leaders have access to that. And when we help men and women in corporate and in all kinds of organizations to feel safe,
Yeah.
while we are going through messy transitional changing projects and big, here as a global community during the pandemic, so much change, so much messy and painful transition. When we as leaders know how to feel safe in ourselves and support others to feel safe, the change becomes easier and doable. That was good news number one. And the second good news for me personally is I love to watch evolution and evolutionary trends and what's going on globally in different industries and in nature. And the good thing is evolution has no ego. Evolution doesn't take sides. Evolution doesn't think in black and white and good and bad. Evolution supports that which serves the survival of the highest numbers of living creatures. And that makes me super helpful. I know, even though we are going through a very messy transition globally in a lot of ways, when it comes, for example, to creativity in leadership will have a rise because evolution will support that. Because for the complex problems we have, like climate crisis, migration waves, artificial intelligence, deletion of most old style work, how we know it, for these complex global problems, we need creative solution. And we get only these creative solutions when we allow diversity and inclusion. So for me, diversity and inclusion are not fashionable trends. I can lean back because I know evolution will support it because it's necessary literally for our survival.
Oh, you are frozen.
Do you hear me? I
Yes.
see you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's okay.
So,
It's okay. I
so
saw
I'm
that
not,
you were
I'm
frozen
not
for a moment. So yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not leaning back and just let evolution have its way because I know this might take multiple generations. And I'm quite ambitious. I want to see the start of a post-patriarchal society globally in my lifetime. This is why I'm stepping more and more into leadership in more and more outreach, bigger ways, and why I signed up here for our wonderful Aspire book project. Because we need to shout it from the rooftops. We have all the knowledge, literally, we have all the knowledge and all the tools we humans as a global community need to create a world that works for everyone. I know a lot of people think that is kumbaya and woo-woo and too positive to be true. No, it's not.
I don't think so.
It's not.
And if we look back for the past decades or even for our mom's life, I mean, life and society has changed so tremendously that there is no reason that our life will be the life for our kids and our grandkids. And somewhere this is our job. And I believe that as women, we are also the mom, and everybody has a mom. Sometimes people don't know who is a dad, but everybody has a mom. And as a woman, we need to embrace that and we need to accept this role. This is very unique in the society because we by being ourselves, we help not only ourselves and our kids, but we help everybody else around. We help other women doing that with their own family and so forth. So woman who is very at ease in working in community and collaborative work, but not only work at work, I mean, to live in a collaborative way. We know that naturally on how to help and support each other's to all together becomes better. If you are mom and you work, you have plan A, B, C, D, and sometimes E, F for your kids because of course there will be sick the day you have your big presentation at work, and it will be the day that your normal babysit is sick as well, or she has something else and she cannot come, and so you go for the plan B, and the plan B is not available, so you need to have a plan C and a plan D. And when I was expatriated as a single mom in China, I had 5 plans to make sure that whatever happens, I will be safe and I will be able to do what I needed to do. But it's a feminine energy. And of course, it's very useful as well in companies, because what happened with kids is just happening with companies as well. But this is the feminine energy that is so natural for us, because we know how to create the support system to make sure that what we want to do and what we need to happen in our life and in the life of the people around us and the company that we work for, we need how to create this support system, which is totally invisible usually. But when you need it, it's just there, right to work and right to apply, right to give whatever they have to give. And that's the reason why the feminine leadership is so invisible, because it doesn't have to be visible to be efficient. But the day you need it, you will be able to use it. So yeah, I mean, we are aligned anyway. So it's just like discussing with that. What I wanted to ask you, dear, is your story. The title of your story in Aspire is Being Your Own Person. I've got
Yes,
a tricky questions for you. How
please.
do we know we are our own person? How do
Oh,
we know that we have managed to really find the core of the core of the core of ourself, the true self, and not only the first layers of the onions?
very good question. So let me take a breath and feel into myself to answer that. So I can't give an answer which fits for every person on this planet. I just share my own personal experience, which might be the same for you and a lot of others, but it could be that it's for everyone very unique as well. So for me, I felt I landed, in quotation mark, in myself when loving myself became not any longer a demand from the self-help industry. Yeah, you should love yourself first, so in order to be able to love others. When loving myself didn't feel any longer as an impossible chore because I have so many flaws and my critical mind was telling me all the reason why I should. When loving myself was just naturally there. When waking up, and my awareness became aware in whose body I was waking up in, and who was laying in my bed in my body, looking at myself and looking into my face, into my own eyes in the mirror. When connecting with myself and feeling the love I have for myself, and that being just natural, just like breathing in and out without any conscious effort, without, ooh, I should learn to love myself better. Ooh, I should drop all my critical self-talk. Ooh, I should train more positive thinking, blah, 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 all these things. When it just feels natural, waking up and there I am, and I love myself and I love my life. And there's no doubt, and there is no concepts, and there is no shoulds, and there is no need to prove anything to anyone, including myself or my husband or my parents. When it feels natural to be in love with yourself and your life, I believe you have arrived. Does that mean, you ask me, like the core, real Sylvia? I don't know. I wake up and I discover myself new, which is so exciting. It's fresh. I'm changing. I'm growing. I'm still evolving. So the one I'm waking up with in my own body today is slightly different than the one last week. I learned so much since last week. I love learning and teaching are for me the two sides of the same coin.
Mm-mm.
So I'm going constantly through trainings and certification programs, and I'm constantly empowering, teaching, and learning. It's like breathing in new information, new growth, and breathing out to empower others and sharing it. I do it constantly, and I am in several programs right now. So I learned so much since last week. So the woman you spoke to last week is already slightly a bit grown and slightly a bit morphed. So yeah, I'm in love.
Uh-oh. Sylvia, do you hear me? You have been cut off. Hello, hello. Mm-mm. So, Sylvia, we don't. Oh, yes, you are back.
Yes, I think you can trust there are like fluctuations in the internet, but the whole time I see you, I heard you. So don't worry. Don't
Okay.
worry.
We
It's
didn't
outside
hear
my
you.
control.
The problem is that we didn't hear you. So you were talking, but we didn't hear you.
Okay.
So
What
that's the
was the
reason why I
last
was saying,
what was the last thing you heard me say?
You were talking about that you were evolving every day, and so every week. And so the Sylvia from last week is not the Sylvia for this week,
Yeah.
and is not the Sylvia for next week, which is absolutely true, especially when you grow and when you are in this mindset of curiosity and kind of joy and energy, positive energy to embrace whatever life is giving us and all the opportunities that we have. We always grow. And as a living body, if we don't grow, we are just dead. We stop growing the day we are dead. And
Yeah.
I remember when my grandma um, passed away, it was just a natural next steps, because just before she said she was not expecting anything anymore from life,
Mm.
and she was gone in a couple of days.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I really believe that if we stop having a project somewhere, a part of us is dead. Then
Yes.
we're certainly not our own person compared to your definition, whatever it is.
So I never answered your question before to anyone. So does that make sense when I say it feels natural and when you land in yourself and you love yourself without needing to effort that, without putting conscious, concepts around it, when it's just a natural way of being?
Yeah, I love this story of the should do, have to, and stuff like this that we find so often with women, to try to meet somebody else's expectation. And so, and I love your definition of self-love, which we have found as well a lot in the different interviews that I have done, as it is part of the kind of key. It's a key that to open new doors, actually. And while you don't have this key, you can just struggle to see above the wall, but it's still some things where it's not reachable. You can see, you can have an idea, but it's not really reachable, um, till you really find the key of self love. And yeah, so it made sense.
Wonderful. And for those of you beloved viewers who don't know me, you might think, oh, she might have been always in this kind of bright, quirky, creative, positive disposition. No, I was not. I grew up as a super serious, lonely child. I inherited through my parents, without going into the details, you can read my chapter in the book. Uh, I went through life without knowing for decades how much anxiety and PTSD I was literally carrying in my body, in my bones with me, because the whole school of thought about epigenetics and things like this didn't exist. So I didn't have the mindset, the distinctions to really understand why I always, my whole life, I felt as living under, not under a rock. It felt more like a cloud of doom, but like a heavy cloud of doom. Like imagine you wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning and you look out and the whole world, everything just looks gray and gloomy and scary and lonely. That was the foundation of the cloud, the bubble I felt in. And it was so normal for me because this is what I knew, to wake up and be in this kind of doom, cloud of doom. And I went for decades with that, always pushing and fighting to get out of it, to see the light, to see something positive, to see the sunshine, to smile and to please everyone so that hopefully some people love me, right? I mean, I was this always smiling girl till I sometimes had pain and muscle cramps in my cheeks because my parents told me I was the sunshine of their life. So I took on this role. Okay, I'm the sunshine. I'm smiling, even though internally I felt sometimes like shit, like crying, but I was smiling because that was expected of me. So it was a journey. It was a journey to get to this point. And if you ask me, was it one morning I woke up and now I knew I was liberated and free? No, it was a process over years. But I remember specific moments where I became aware of the evolution. And I think it was Steve Jobs who quoted or said so beautifully, when we look into the future, we don't see the connections between the dots and the milestones in our life. But when we look back, we suddenly can see how certain decisions we made, certain jobs we had, certain peoples we met, how all the dots in our life are intertwined and connected and creating this magical tapestry, the carpet, the fabric, which got us to the point where we are now. So I don't know exactly, when was my day of awakening. It was a gradual process. And I remember some light, enlightening moments where I came aware of, wow, how far I had come and how much of my anxieties and my loneliness, my disconnect, I was able to have let go of. And sometimes it happens so gentle. It's like you lose something, like an old piece of fabric, like a bit of skin, like you're having dandruff in your hair and you're not aware of it. And this is how we sometimes shave off old pieces of habits of who we are, and they fall behind us and we move forward so we don't even see them. And then you have a moment of something happens or someone gives you feedback and you stop. And then you look around and maybe you look back and then you see all this dandruff of your old parts of yourself, seeing and realize, oh my gosh, I grew so much. This is amazing. This is amazing. So it's a beautifully messy human process.
And I like the way you talk about the lights, that piece by piece, just like the more you go through the tunnel, the more you can see the light. And I would like to remember people who are listening to us is that we really believe, and it's keen to our heart, that Aspire's book will become one light, this light for somebody somewhere in the world, even if there is only one woman who can find it as a light and find her own light in it, to do that, then it was worth sharing our story for that. And as I'm talking about the book launch on April 30th, this is the date to buy it. You will find the link. We will give you the link as soon as we have it on Friday morning everywhere in the world. That's going to be so exciting. There is this kind of global community going all together. So be part of it. It will be such a nice energy for you. And I will do a specific training on 11 a.m. PST on that day for free. Fast track to your life of purpose and joy, to find joy in your life, because we believe in that, both with Sylvia. Sylvia, you speak beautifully about this light and so forth, and there is two things that I wanted to share with you, to ask you about. Which one do I start with? I will start with the pain. You talk about the pain and feeling that at some point you wake up somewhere from those gloomy environment and life you were in, and saying that it should be more in life than that.
Yeah.
And this energy, this awareness that I should get more of. Do I really get the most of my life, or can I get more of it?
Yeah.
That is really something that I've seen in so many other authors, that I would like to have your point of view on that.
Thank you. That's a brilliant, brilliant question. And I would like to answer it holding my brain from a neuroscience perspective and with a mini experiential exercise for our beloved viewers here. So beloved viewer, imagine, I assume you are sitting somewhere, maybe you have a desk or a table or something in front of you. So imagine the table, the desk in front of you is in your kitchen, your stove. And please raise your right hand and imagine below the table is a hot stove. So now take your hand and put your hand, and Benedict, follow along, put your hand on the hot stove. What do you do? What do you do?
You take it out.
You raise your hand immediately,
Yeah.
right? We are not leaving our hand on the hot stove and pressing it down and saying, "Oh yeah, oh this is hot, this really burns, this really hurts. Oh my gosh, my hand, the skin is falling." We don't do that. Our brain is wired to detect pain in a macrosecond. So when we put our hand on the stove, we jump away from the pain. And for physical pain or emotional pain, whatever it is, the brain is hardwired to make you go away from the pain. So on one hand, that's good. I mean, it's good that we don't keep our hands on hot stoves.
Yeah.
But the problem becomes that pain is also a form of information, an important information, either about our health from our body. When something starts to hurt, maybe we should go to the doctor. Maybe we should change some habits. Maybe we should change our food, our diet. And also emotionally, when we are emotionally in pain, it's an information, I believe, from our soul trying to get our attention. Hello, hi, you are unhappy? Yeah, you are in emotional pain. I try to get your attention because there is something out of sync, out of alignment in your life. Hello. But in our society, media, advertising, everyone gives us the easy pill, the easy escape door. For women, for me, another purse, another bag. Do you know how many purses and bags I have? I'm not a shoe girl.
Well, I guess.
A lot of women buy shoes. Yeah, because this is capitalistic society. Shopping, you know how they call it in the United States? Retail therapy. Hello? Yes. Instead of me looking into the mirror, looking into myself, why am I frustrated? Why am I not looking forward to get out of bed? Why do I not enjoy talking to my boss? Why am I not excited about my project? Why am I in pain or depression? Well, let's watch Netflix, binge Handmaid's Tale, or buy a new purse, or during the pandemic, I did that a lot, eat a big chunk of ice cream or chocolate or cheesecake. So we are all trained to numb the pain, to shovel it down through either food or shopping or other addictive negative habits. So my point is to answer your question, when it comes to the pain, is to hold, to not run away from the emotional pain and to connect with it. I do that. I scan my body, my physical body for pain, and also my emotional body. And then I keep my attention literally on it. And I talk with the pain. I ask the pain, hey, beloved, tweaking tight muscle in, let's say, in my neck. What's going on? What's the message? My point is, to make a long story short, pain is a golden nugget and pearl, an information, a gift for you, wrapped in an ugly gift wrapping paper, because pain, it doesn't feel good. It feels yucky, it hurts. I mean, pain, hurt is not nice. But in it, if you are not numbing it or running away or trying to push it aside or forgetting it or blaming, whatever, if you face it, it can really turn into a beautiful pearl of wisdom from your soul, telling you that it's maybe time to change something.
Yeah.
Your job, your relationship, your attitude, your mindset, your diet, your rhythm, your belief. I don't know. It can be something tiny or something big. And there's no logic in that. Some big
Yeah.
pains are about something small.
Mm.
And small nagging pain over time can be about a big life decision. So there is no rational linear logic behind that. The only core I'm really sure I can say I know for sure, pain is useful. Pain is a gift when we find the courage to face it and talk with it and figure out why is the pain even there.
Yeah, I love what you're saying on that, because we all know that we learn more with pain than we learn with success. And but somewhere we would love to live in an ideal world where we learn more from success than we learn from pain. So we will chase out success and positive emotions to learn from there. But actually the truth is that as human being, and as you said, our brain is wired for that, to have this kind of instant connection with pain that takes more time to wire our brain to success. And that's the reason why celebrating any success, big or small, is so important. Because then we train our brain to learn from positive experience. So we need less negative experience to keep learning and growing, as we were saying before. But naturally, our brain will connect easily with pain, more easily with pain than with success, because, well, we are both European. So I don't know for the American culture, but in Europe, it's not so well seen to brag about yourself and to really enjoy and get 100% in celebration and in being, yeah, 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 I got it, I got it, I did it. It's not, this is not really well accepted. And definitively, at least I had, and I believe you had, especially in Germany, uh, I had to learn how to wire my brain for celebration, for
Yeah.
success, how to learn from success, just as I learned from pain.
Yeah. And I want to, so I agree with you and I disagree at the same time. Just because of something I learned recently through neuroscience, what we have been taught in the patriarchy comes from a certain mindset. So this whole no pain, no gain
Yeah.
is a certain paradigm.
Yeah.
And yes, the brain has a bias towards the negative. And yet, when we look at how habits are created, this is like the newest kind of neuroscience, we know now that something which is, let's say, negative for us as an adult, for example, eating a gallon of ice cream every evening on your sofa, is now, as a mature woman, not any longer healthy, positive in the long run. But when this habit got installed when you were young and your mother maybe gave you always chocolate or sweets like my mother did. My mother believed love goes through the stomach. That was a German saying. Love goes through the stomach. So she fed everyone to death, trying to express her love. And so I learned, which it was a positive connotation, a positive dopamine release in my brain. When I felt a bit low, mommy would cook me something nice. So I connected positively eating with feeling safe, feeling loved, being comforted. There's the notion of comfort food. So the brain is able to learn from the positive, and it's all about literally about molecules of different hormones being released in the brain. And yes, I so underline what we say, what you said, that we have to learn to celebrate tiny little successes, because, and there's a bias, the brain remembers, sadly, the negative things. Like
Mm.
afterwards, when we both here analyze our performance here in the video, the brain would go, oh my gosh, we had 3 internet flares and 3 breakdowns, and we might spend more moments discussing those and how to manage them in the future instead of celebrating all the pearls of wisdoms we shared between the flare-ups. So that is where the conscious effort and the training comes in, to literally celebrate and allow ourselves to clap on our own shoulders, which I agree, as a German, bragging, no, 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 no. My husband, who is from New Zealand, he gave me a British kind of saying. He said that in New Zealand, when he grew up, they called it the tall poppy syndrome. When you, as a tall poppy, when your head stayed out of the crowd, you got your head chopped off, right?
Okay.
Or in Germany, I had the metaphor when I was young, being told of a fly catcher. You know how you swap
Yeah.
kill the fly. So if you were standing up, standing out, looking great, there was always someone who was a fly catcher told me something like, don't allow it to go to your head, or don't be too proud, that doesn't suit you, or don't be too happy, people might not take you seriously. And then,
Mm.
God, even now a story comes to my mind. One of my first big corporate projects, I was in my early 30s, was with a German big company, a bit like what Walmart would be here in the United States. And I was facilitating for 3 days over 100 HR professionals. I had a blast. I had the time of my life. I was smiling a lot, but not the grin forced as a little girl. I was smiling from my heart because I loved it so much. But as a German, everyone was German around me at the time, that was really suspicious. I heard afterwards from my client, she said, Sylvia, the first 2 days, people doubted you and your expertise because you were smiling all the time. Some people asked me, is she from America? Seriously, I've never been to America at the time. They asked, they were whispering, is she from America? She smiles all the time. This can't be real. Only then at the 3rd day or so, people realize, oh my gosh, she's genuine. She is happy. She enjoys what she's doing here with us. It was so foreign because there was this whole paradigm that work is about effort, sweat, and blood to make a living. No one is happy when they work. No one smiles, right? So depending on which culture you are coming from, and especially as women, celebrating, being proud about your accomplishments can come really as a challenge. For me, definitely it was. And I believe my soul subconsciously made me move to the United States to learn certain things, which for me in Germany felt so foreign, or I've never even thought about. I'm very grateful for the cultural adjustment I could make by
Yeah.
being allowed to step out of my own culture, look back and understand more clearly what was serving me in my culture of Germany where I grew up in and whatnot. And also I'm also grateful for having these German roots, because now living in the United States, I can distinguish here also what in the American culture is serving me and what not. And I think that is what you and I both share with our empowerment services. When people learn to discern what serves them and what not, in whatever culture they are in,
Yeah.
they are more empowered as leaders and find more easily to their true own self.
Mm-mm. And when you talk about culture, I was thinking that actually there is a kind of a woman's culture, no matter what is the country and the family and the region and the I would say small culture, not small in the sense of it is small, but geographically small. Um, I I have worked. I mean, I've been in China for 3 years. I have worked with German people a lot, with Spanish people, with UK people, with British people. Now I live in US, and so I work with American people. But to be honest with you, I didn't see so much difference as a woman in all those different countries. even though in China, the woman is the equal of the man. And so you don't have this kind of, as a leader in China, it was just normal that I was a woman. I mean, it was just a non-event. What was important was my age. It was not my gender, which is totally wrong in Germany, especially at the time I was a leader. My German colleagues were not women because there was no system to take care of the kids. So as soon as they were a mom, they had to take care of the kid at least for the first couple of years till he can go to school. And so I was the first woman in Germany again later, years later, after being that in France, not because I was an engineer, but that time just because I was a mom and a leader at the same time. Because for German women, it was very, very difficult to find it. I don't know how it is today, but so this is very different cultural and national culture and even national representation of the woman, and yet no matter the nationality of the woman I work with, there is a kind of common sense and common difficulties and common overcome that we all go through to really find and finally be who we are meant to be and to be happy with that. And so, as listening to you, I was thinking, well, maybe there is a woman culture. Well,
So I believe you are touching on something very beautiful, which is for me the essential humanitarian core or something.
yeah.
And I personally, that has to do with my own evolution. I have been focused for a few years on because of my research into matriarchal cultures, and then here in the United States, when Trump, who I say it here publicly, in my eyes is a misogynist, when he got elected, that politicized me. I became a public political active person thanks to Trump, and I'm honestly grateful for that effect he had on me. So now with Trump being out of office and watching last year during the pandemic what was going on globally with leadership, I realized my personal focus is on the empowerment of both genders, how they can get into partnership. So what you described, your experience with women, I believe men have that too. There's historically a male culture globally, and there's historically a female culture, and I believe the future is in the love and respect among the genders, the partnership. And when I say gender, I want to even get out of the black and white, man, woman, the whole intersectional gender continuum, because I think this is an amazing thing, even though it's percentage-wise a small percentage of the population, but just that we live now in, not in all countries, but in more and more countries where people have legally the freedom to choose where they are on the gender continuum, makes me very, very happy because of the growth and freedom, which for me is a sign that the patriarchy is in its final stages. I believe the patriarchy has proven to not work any longer, to not be future fit. The pandemic has been like a magnifying glass everywhere to show us what's working in society and what's not. And as painful and as messy as it is, I'm celebrating the breakdown of the patriarchy, because I know from analyzing evolutionary trends that the future will be rooted in diversity and inclusion, because that's what humanity and planet Earth need, literally need, for our survival when we face the climate crisis. So I'm optimistic that what you experienced in the future, we will experience more and more a common shared humanity, which for me is all rooted in love. So I'm a fan and believer in love. My meme is let love lead, period, always, period, because I got so pushback, especially from people who were worried about my brand and corporate, who told me, Sylvia, let love lead. That sounds like a, Californian hippie. Are you now a Californian hippie? And I said, maybe, maybe not. That's for me not the point. I mean it. I'm very serious. I believe that when we focus on love and do that always, that we as leaders, when we lead from love, we make the right decisions. And the
Yeah.
world needs leadership coming from love and not from fear, not from greed, not from hate, not from polarization, all this polarized rhetoric everywhere right now. So let love lead always.
Yeah. Well, when you speak about love, a lot of people are talking about leading with the heart, from the heart, and heart-centered leaders and heart-based leaders and stuff like this. So this is the same idea, and it might not be as Californian culture, as you said, hippie Californian culture. So I don't know the culture of California, so I'm just repeating what you are saying because I haven't been in
I don't
California.
say that either. It's just the pushback where
Yeah.
people think, now she lost it. Now she is a hippie. Yeah, they mean it condescending. So no, it's something much bigger.
I've got a last question for you, but before I ask it, I would like to remind our audience that we have the launch of the book Aspire on Friday, April 30th. This is in 2 days, so this is so exciting. This is the day to buy the book. It's only 99 cents, and it will serve, first of all, you as a reader. We do hope so, and we have put all our heart and all our love in it to make it that happen. And it will serve as well as a charity of womankind, which is a charity to help women step up and find their own ways. So you will do two goods, and you will help us to become best-selling authors. So thank you for that. The same day, I will make a training which is fast track to your to a life of purpose and joy. I will add the joys following all the interviews, because this is one of the key component that is also the reason why we want to have more of that, to get more of our life and to get the best of it. It's free on launch day only. There is only one session before I make it paid. And so you need to register on, the link is going below, benedicthertzen.com/aspire. So the last question I wanted, because this is already more or less an hour, the last question I wanted to ask you is about the freedom that you were talking. And I know how keen it is to your heart, and it's keen to my heart as well. So I'm excited to think about that. And there is something in the story that you write in the book that made me wonder if it is that the freedom. You are talking, what will the neighbors think? What others can think? And my question to you is, can we compare? I mean, is it being free and really living in freedom? Is it that we don't care anymore about what people think, about what we are doing, who we are being, and what we're having, what we be, do, have, and all of this together? Is there a link between, is it the way that we can see I am totally free, or is freedom something else for you?
Great question. You have such great question. I love that. So for me, being free doesn't mean not to care what others think. Because for me, and this is culturally maybe a bit coming from my German heritage, for me, freedom is one side of a coin, and the other side of the coin is responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
And I know this is not very popular, especially here in the United States, where it's like both sides of the coin are freedom, freedom, freedom. So for me, freedom and responsibility are beautifully merged. And when I take on as a leader responsibility, I do care. So I do care, especially I'm in business. I do marketing. Of course, I care what other people think. But that is a different source where I come from with caring versus being constantly in anxiety, judging everything I do myself. Even and people have to read the chapter, even when I'm alone at home, as if someone like Big Brother from George Orwell and his amazing book 1984, as if
Yeah.
someone is constantly having a spotlight on everything I'm doing, and constantly I'm worrying what I'm doing, how do I look? Oh my God, is my lipstick good enough? Is my makeup good enough? Oh my gosh, my hair, my roots. I have these pandemic roots. I'm not going often to the hair. So when I'm coming from this fear, from the anxiety of what others might think, which means it's always a negative assumed judgment, then it's not being free. I'm free from that kind of worrying of what others might think, because I finally embrace the fact, whatever I do, or however I look, there will be people who love it, and there will be people who
Yeah.
don't love it, and
Yeah.
there will be people who don't care, who are completely neutral. And the percentage of those will always constantly change. So that's not my business. And now we come to responsibility. I'm not responsible for what you think or like about me or not. That's your business. My freedom comes from owning the responsibility for my business, my side of it, my mind chatter, my inner critic. Freedom in the combination of the other side of responsibility. For me, it's both, because you can't be responsible without being free. If you are in a system where you're completely enslaved and have no rights, you are then not responsible, because you are not free either. For me, freedom and responsibility come hand in hand. So I'm not caring any longer what others think of me in this old anxiety-based subconscious assumption that everyone will judge me and hate me, and because the core belief was I'm not good enough or I'm too much, either not enough or too much. The rock and the hard stone most women are trained to be in by the patriarchy, but I still do care. Of course I care, especially what my husband or my boys think. I do care. That comes from love and from the freedom and responsibility that, I did put some care in how I show up here. I'm not showing up here half naked, fallen out of my bed with food hanging down from my teeth, because this would be not respectful. But I'm not putting myself into a nice look, I hope you think, because I'm scared of what you think. I do that because out of love, because I care for you. I want you to feel respected and loved by me. So I put some effort in preparing you for the interview, and don't come here across like a sloppy, freshly fallen out of bed. So it's a fine distinction. Yes, I do care, but I care out of freedom and responsibility.
Yeah, I love what you're saying, because the word seeing is actually not enough. Because what will others think can be seen, as you beautifully said, from two perspectives. The first one is how people are going to judge me, which is totally different from I care about what they think and what they see.
Yeah.
And so seeing, it's just like and I will be more careful when I do it myself, because I totally agree with you. I do care for my client. I do care for our audience. I do care for you. I do care for our readers in the book. I do care about what people can take out of what I'm doing. And so I put the energy as beautifully as I can with who I am, to make sure that I make a difference for somebody somewhere, even if it is a small one. So I agree with you on I care, but I don't feel the judgment anymore. So yeah, I think that from your definition, it's not I don't care what other people think, is I'm not interested by people's judgment,
Yeah. Yeah.
which could be a better definition than that. So thank you very much for that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think in our society, we are so trained with our perception, to stop on the surface, on what people do. So someone cares. And then we make all the assumptions of what that means. I think we all are invited to go deeper and connect with the intention and from where someone is coming from, when they do something. So the action is the surface. I care. But it's a very different caring if it comes in the root from fear. Oh my God, what will they think about me? Or if it comes from love, what will they think about this? So I think it's an invitation to go deeper beneath the action and to the motivation, the intention, and the place of being from where the person is coming from. And that is a bit more work. That is, and it takes a bit more time, and especially here in the United States, time is money. Speed. So it's much more easy for most people and faster to just see the surface and judge. She's doing that. She's doing that. He's doing that. She's blah, 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 blah. Yeah. No. Freedom and happiness for me is in the depths and not in the speed surfing of the superficial surface.
Beautiful. We will stop with that because there is nothing else to say about it. The only thing I will add is that we still have a last interview. So you were the last one before the end. Tomorrow, 11 a.m. PST. So you can find it on the YouTube channel. Let me put the link here on the YouTube channels because it seems that Facebook has still an issue on broadcasting. So we will trust the YouTube to carry the words about it. And we have tomorrow morning as well, 9:30, a clubhouse room. So just to follow me on Clubhouse to find the room. We will have one Thursday morning and one with all the author on Friday. Yes, to celebrate the launch of the book. So that's going to be very epic and so beautiful, a beautiful energy. If you want to start your day, bump up with positivity and everything, you need to join this club room. It will be just amazing. And so that's for Clubhouse, another interview. And you can find all the interviews on the channel, on the YouTube channel. I have uploaded all the ones that have not been done directly on YouTube. So this is Tech Issues. We are so happy to have you. And book launch is Friday. Thank you very much, Sylvia, for joining us this morning and giving us your perspective on all of that. It was beautiful having you.
Thank you so much. Your questions were simple and so brilliant, and some I've never gotten asked. So kudos to you. That's always a pleasure for me because letting your questions sink into me, then I can listen what comes out of my mouth, which is unscripted and new for me too. So I learned something about myself today here. So thank you, gorgeous. I love you. And thank you for inviting me. Because of you, I'm a co-author of this book. You invited me. So thank you, my dear.
You're very welcome. It's a pleasure to have you. So we wish you a wonderful day and see you tomorrow and see you Friday, April 30th for the book launch. See you then. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Bye.